winter is coming, or it could be here. Or maybe it's the summer and you're preparing for winter. These are even helpful in the fall. Sporting events, just being outside on a walk. And I did a whole review on these that I'll post up there and down below if you're interested. They were pretty good. They have 3 ranges of heat. But then I started getting requests to do the throwaway disposable chemical reaction hand warmers. These are cheaper than these, but are they as good? I've got 2 popular brands, Hot Hands and Little Hotties. Don't ask me how they came up with that name. The expiration date is 3 years away, which is important because I've used old ones where they just aren't working anymore. So we're going to open these up, turn these on, and see which one does better. And I've got a thermal camera to record everything. So let's go to a top-down shot, get into the details of the test, and start it off. Using these chargers, I've made sure that all these are up to the maximum level of charge. These have been sitting on a shelf for about 2-3 months, not charged. So we're going to turn those on and see how long a charge stays as opposed to having these fully charged. So I don't even know what the state of these are, but we're going to test them out anyway. I'm using 2 of each of these because sometimes you get a different reading from one and the other. Now you can see with the thermal camera, everything is just kind of room temperature, about 60 degrees. So we got a timer here, that's my hand, to give you an indication of heat. Shaking these up, we got the Little Hotties on this side and we got the Hot Hands on this side. Now I'm going to turn all of these on and I'm going to do the 1 setting. Everything is on. These are starting to warm up. We're going to start the timer and see what the temperature is for everything. These are at 110 degrees F at number 1 setting, and these are 74. Little Hotties are not real hot. You gotta shake them up a bit. 8 minutes in, this row here is staying consistent between 110 and 115 degrees. The Hot Hands are right around 100 degrees at the hottest point, and the Little Hotties are starting to warm up about 90 degrees. 78 minutes in, we're seeing 106, between 106 and 113. 112, 113. So they're along the line of the electrical ones. Hot Hands are hot. They're 126, which would be probably 2 or 3 on the battery ones. 120 minutes in, or 2 hours, and we have 110, 105, 110 on all of these. This is 107 at the peak, so somewhere between 125 and 130 with the Hot Hands. 3 hours and 8 minutes in, and the state of everything is about the same as the last report. 4 hours in, 130, 129, 127, 127, and then just the rest of these are same. They're just kind of marching time, cycling between 105 degrees and 110 degrees. 5 hours in, and the state is the same. Something to note, I really think that you need to move these around to get the maximum temperature. And if you're walking around, or even if you're having them in your hand, you're going to have a tendency to scrunch them in your hand a little bit. Move these around in your hand all you want. That's not going to change the temperature. About 3 minutes ago, 10 minutes shy of 6 hours, this one went cold. Which isn't bad considering it was sitting on the shelf for 3 months not being used. So the batteries don't die down over time, at least in 3 months. Interesting result. These 5 went out of commission between 6:17 and 6 hours and 20 minutes. This one's still going. These are still going. So let's see what the temperature is. I really like this top down, by the way. Okay, so this one's still going strong at 110 degrees, 120, 123 with these, 125, 128. 12 minutes shy of 7 hours, the last of the battery-operated hand warmers lost its light. It's at 95 right now. It will probably have some residual heat. My experience is you get 4 or 5 more minutes out of that as it goes down. Hot Hands, 126. Little Hotties, 120, 120-ish without shaking them up. This is becoming an endurance contest. We're at 8 hours, and we'll look at the thermal images. Yeah, everything's just like our out. How are hot hands and little hotties doing? 117, 113, 117. How's little hotties? 112, 113, 109. So this one's dying out a little faster than this one is at 8 hours. It's a little more than 8.5 hours. These are starting to wind down. Let's take a thermal reading. Hot hands down to 95. Little hotties, 105 on this one, and this one's dying down to 80. So I think we're about there. 8.5 hours of testing. If you've gotten this far in the video, you get some bonus thoughts, and these are pretty powerful. Since this video was shot, I've been thinking a little bit about different situations where this wins the day over this. And I figured one out on my commute. You can fire this up for 10-15 minutes at a time, shut it off, and it's still good for the next time. Here, as soon as you open the package, this thing's going to run for 8 hours whether you need it or not, and then it's going to burn itself out. For short stints, battery operated wins over the throwaway packet. If you're going outside, saying shoveling, and you need to wear gloves, these little packets could slide right in and still use a shovel or hold on to something. It's probably going to work. You can't really do it with these plastic ones because they'll just kind of get in the way. They're too big. And oh, by the way, I came up with these holders so that you wouldn't lose them. For a short walk or even a 30-minute walk, this is the answer, not this. You'll go through a whole bunch of these in a short period of time if all you're using them for is a 30-minute walk. And you have another one. I found that I can alternate my hands back and forth and keep this going and this going, so then you have 12 hours. Because as soon as this burns out, you get one that's ready to go for another 6. You don't necessarily need to use both of these on both hands at the same time. Some final thoughts as we close this one out. Number one, having a thermal imaging camera makes this a lot more interesting and accurate. These have 3 different temperature settings. The shelf life charged didn't seem to make a difference. Originally, I thought hot hands was going to win the day over little hotties, but they're pretty much the same. The contents in the bag, it's probably no mystery. There's a chemistry there. If you check the date on the back of the package, you could have a shelf life of 4, maybe 5 years. Older throwaway hand holders don't seem to do as well as brand new ones. It makes sense. After a while, even though that they're sealed in a airtight package, eventually this is going to give out. You leak, get a little tear in it. You could totally neutralize these things. Because the last thing you want to do is open one of these up when you want it and it doesn't work. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in all sorts of testing of sports gear, outdoor gear, making and breaking things, designs of all kinds, I evaluate and design photography equipment, sports equipment, and I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what kind of test you're gonna see.